Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, we're going to talk about Bitcoin and take a look at where we're at. Real quick though, I wanted to remind you guys that Trade Genius Academy, we got 4 days left and we are doing a killer special. This is an annual 12-month package and it's going to get you our swing indicator, which as I've shown you numerous times, works really well. And you're going to get the Crypto Express, and that will tell you when the swing indicator fires so that you don't have to be in front of the computer the whole time looking for when these arrows pop, because there's a limitation in TradingView. And so I think that's an awesome deal. Check it out. All right, let's get into this video.
Trade Genius.
All right, so remember I said, the last video, watch out for consensus. Everybody's lining up to get long. And this was the daily bar here above. This bar here was the day before the consensus 513. And then we had so basically these three bars here are the consensus days of the convention or crypto conference in New York. So as you can see, basically whatever opposite of what majority were expecting happened, and it rolled over. We had a pretty wild day on the day of the consensus. We basically opened where we started, but there was a pretty significant drop down, so the range on this bar was pretty wide. So at the end of that, we weren't sure what to see, but then it kind of rolled over. I will say, like, when you Twitter can be a great indicator on what not to do, and a lot of times when you just see the Twitter feeds just saying the same thing, consensus, we're going to go up 20%, blah blah blah. A lot of times the exact opposite happens, and it's not just in crypto. I mean, it's in everything. You'll see it in across all commodity spaces, all trading indices. It could be the S&P 500, it could be gold. When you start seeing a mass amount of in your feed consensus one way or the other, a lot of times you'll see the opposite initially happen. Now, that being said, I'm not going to be super bearish and say that we're dumping. A lot of times, in fact, every time after the consensus conference, we've gone up. Now, whether or not we go up immediately right after, that's probably not going to be real straightforward. But I do think we are going to see a general trend up, and I do think that this upper end of this wedge we're in this giant wedge here, or really pennant, and I think ultimately this breaks up. So what I'm looking for, guys, is in the middle of this pennant for us to hold this to break up, or hold this mid channel, because when you get a mid like a mid channel or mid pennant reversal, those are the ones we look for. Those are pretty powerful. See that come up to this upper trend line. When that upper trend line breaks, then we get a nice move, probably back ultimately to this level here of 11,700. And I think that when you get another, so we've tested this from the bottom side once here and once here. On the third attempt, that's going to probably in all likelihood break out at this point. So that's basically what I'm looking for. Now, even though we've rolled over here and we do have support here at 7,800, we definitely could see that level. In fact, that would be, if we get a quick dump down, that would be a great level to pick some up at. So that would be your value area here. But we are in a descending wedge, and we've talked about that, and those can be pretty powerful. In fact, that produced this move here. This was a descending wedge over here, and that broke out and made this move off near the lows, recent lows, up all the way to just about almost $10,000. So love those patterns. So that's basically what we're looking to see shape up here. Again, this could spend a few more days dribbling down in this descending wedge pattern, but I think somewhere in here we're going to see an attempt to break out of this, and when we do get this breakout, odds are going to be really good that this comes up and it's going to attack this upper trend line here. Now this is going down, obviously, so where this is, you're probably going to meet some resistance here for maybe a day, and then I expect a breakout of that. On the downside, so that's the upside scenario. And again, you're just going to manage with tight stops on this stuff until you get a directional bias confirmed. On the downside, we're looking if this breaks down, okay, this would generally, when these wedges show up, they hold. But if things got super bearish and broke down, and we lose this mid area that we're looking for to hold, if we lose this mid area, then obviously we're going to be looking at a bounce here at this lower end of this wedge or pennant, and so this would be the next logical area to take a stab at a long. Okay, because this 7,800 area, you see the volume void here. Okay, so that's going to be a pocket where price could just quickly dip through. Now we're only looking at this area here, right? But the reason why I like to look at smaller areas as opposed to zooming out to see the big price action, see, it's not as clear there. But this kind of tells you too, because we noticed the uptick in volume over here. So that's telling you that this is kind of a new cycle of volume, and you can kind of see these hidden pockets. So I like to look at those in that way. All right, so that's the daily, guys. If we look into the 4-hour, as you can see, we fired along here. That got a nice big move up, and then since hit that WMA 65. That would have been a logical target. Also, it ran into this bear fib zone, and so it's rolled over. So actually, the target on this bear fib zone, if you were taking the short side, for example, on that, because you can trade these just the zones themselves, you can just trade minus any signals, but that would be 79.50 approximately downside target on that, and that would complete that fib move down. So something to keep an eye on. But you can see where this buy signal fired, went up, you would have either taken profit there excuse me, or you would have stopped out up here with a trailing stop, as we always recommend. So next thing's going to fire is a 4-hour sell, probably down here, unless we get a big move up. We also forgot to mention we are at the risk. In fact, I think the next daily bar, which prints at, I believe, 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern on TradingView, because they use Greenwich time, will probably fire a daily sell signal, and that will be right about here. So that's those things. The daily signals are pretty powerful. As you can see, the last daily sell signal was here, and that produced a pretty sizable move. All of the daily signals produce pretty sizable moves. On the rare occasion, you will get a flip, meaning that it fires and then price reverses, and then you'll get another flip back to the other direction. Those don't happen very often. So that is the one pretty bearish thing right now with the price action and the technical indicators, is that the sell is going to fire here probably within the next bar or the next few hours, as the daily bar makes a new daily bar later this evening. Looking on the hourly, so again, we have an hourly short signal. If the hourly long fires down in here, that actually would be for a short-term trend trade, would be a long. So if that fires, then that's probably worth a stab, because you can put a short stop in here around 8,000 or a little lower, and look to get up into, if you can get above this resistance area here, then the next level I would be looking at would be somewhere up in here in this 84.50 area. So if we can get a buy signal somewhere in here, in this area here, that would be a decent risk reward for a short-term hourly play. All right, guys, so that's basically where we're at. We have potential for a short-term hourly play. The 4-hour is looking like it's going to fire short, so we've got some mixed signals there, but the daily is probably ready to fire a short signal. However, we are in a descending wedge, so we've got some mixed currents. Descending wedges are bullish, but daily sell signals are very bearish. And like I said, the way I would play that is I would be looking for these support levels to take a bounce long. All right, because even though we are on a daily sell, and that does take us down to here, I think that's very favorable for a bounce and a possible breakout out of here. And when you do get up here, you can move your stop up to your entry, and you protect yourself pretty quick. Otherwise, you have pretty tight stops. So the moves, tight stops are good, because once you do catch a trend on Bitcoin, it's pretty powerful, and you can get a decent move up pretty quickly. So there you have it, guys. That's our weekly Bitcoin outlook. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on tomorrow's video. Take care. Bye.
trade genius.